Welcome everybody to the Kim Barrett Show. I am your host, Kim Barrett, and on today's episode we have Mr. Jon Gregory, another local Perth boy who is on today talking to us about his new technology in the space of fitness, Vitruvian Form. Now, this is something, when I first heard it, I was like, how can this actually be good? How can this be better than what's out there? And with a lot of new inventions these days, it's not about making things completely new and completely from scratch. It's like, how do you take what's already there and make it better and optimize it, improve it? And that's exactly what he's done. So I won't give away the secret sauce because you've got to jump in and check out the episode. But if you've ever been interested in how do you identify where there are gaps in a market, whether it be for a product or a service, and then take that and use it to your own advantage, this is the episode for you. So without further ado, let's jump into the show. Jon, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you making the time.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Kim. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolute pleasure. Now, I always like to start the podcast off the same every time, which is if you and I met at a party and we're chatting away and I said to you, Jon, what is it that you actually do? What's your go-to answer?
I make fitness equipment, is what I'm doing currently, yeah.
And so it's not just the run-of-the-mill fitness equipment though, right? There's a bit more to it. Fill us in a little bit more on what sort of stuff you're making.
Just a little bit of background. My background is in quantitative finance of all things. I'm a statistical arbitrage trader. I spent my life making money by designing trading algorithms. And when I was in my trading company about 10 years ago now, I had a gym in the back of my office so that I could trade. I could work out when the markets were quiet. I just thought I could do a better job of resistance training using algorithms. So my real background is applied physics. I did applied physics at uni, so I figured I could apply a bit of applied physics, some algorithmic techniques, and come up with a new way and a more efficient way and a more effective way of doing resistance training. So that was the genesis. Yeah, and through lots of research, lots of work, lots of proofs of concept, lots of testing, lots of development, we've arrived at a product which does exactly that. Instead of you picking up that dumbbell in the gym, you'll pick up the handle on our machine and the weight will constantly adjust to your own strength and to what you're able to do, so that when you work out against this machine, your muscles are always working optimally. So that just means that you can work out either more efficiently or more effectively for the same amount of time. And we're not talking about just a little bit better. We're talking about twice as good. You can get the same workout in half the time, which is amazing.
I love that. So tell us, because I know the term algorithm gets used a lot. So we work in the Facebook space, we run Facebook ads, sure. And there's a Facebook algorithm. There's obviously trading algorithms and now a training algorithm as well. What does the word algorithm, like at the very simplest, dumbed down level, what does that actually mean?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I've been using algorithms for my whole career. And the more you get into it, I guess the more you understand what's going on. And from my point of view now, life is an algorithm. We live our lives according to algorithms, which is just a bunch of stepwise inputs that you take some inputs from and you make a decision based off them. So you wake up in the morning and your input is, I'm tired and I'm hungry. So your algorithm in your head goes, well, let's go to a cafe and get a coffee and a muffin. The beauty about computers is you can just run those algorithms so much faster and you can take so much more inputs. So an algorithm is the way all humans operate. And algorithmic training is just using computers and robots to do that way faster than any human could.
It makes it a little bit simpler because I think sometimes everyone hears it and it's like, especially when I think the social media side of things, there's all these buzzwords around algorithm and no one actually knows what it actually means, but they like to throw it around a fair bit. Yeah. So with that, obviously resistance training in itself, and obviously you're saying that it can improve the results that you get and obviously the effectiveness of from the human being side. So if I go up to a machine or I go up to a pair of dumbbells and I lift up a 20 kilo dumbbell and do some curls, how do I then interact with this piece of equipment so that it knows what my actual strength is based on what I'm doing?
Sure. So you'll start, the machine itself is a small platform. It's about 10 centimeters high. It's about 50 centimeters wide and about 1.2 meters long. It's a nice compact platform. And there's two ropes that come out of that platform, which we generally just attach handles to. And when you turn it on, the first thing you'll do is open our training app on your phone and you'll tag to the machine on your phone. And then the machine knows who you are. It knows all your previous workouts. It knows your personal bests. And then you can select either a class to follow, or you can select an individual workout to do. Perhaps you want to do bicep curls or bench press. You'll select bicep curls. And then you'll go through 3-rep training exercise so that the machine knows the high and low of that exercise. So the top of the range and the bottom of the range, it takes just a few reps to work that out. And then at the top of that 3rd rep, it'll load the force. And it'll load the force according to what your previous best was. So it'll load that force up to your previous best. If you're feeling a bit weak that particular day, you'll probably start moving before you get to that personal best. But it'll just load it to your personal best. And then when you get to the bottom of your range and you try and lift it up, well, you probably won't be able to, because you're much stronger eccentrically than you are concentrically. So you'll load it up and you'll control the weight down. You get to the bottom, you won't be able to lift it. So the machine will know that you can't lift it, and it'll back the weight off so you can just start moving. And if you get stuck here, it'll back it off again. And if you start going a bit too fast, it'll increase the weight. So it's constantly adjusting the force based on the velocity that the machine is measuring. So that at every given range of motion and for every rep in a set, those muscles are working about as hard as they possibly can. And that's just one of the algorithms that we use. There are sports scientists who are interested in whole different ways of training. Some sports scientists are interested just purely in that eccentric phase, in which case you would choose an algorithm which just loads the eccentric phase and drops the weight off at the bottom. So you just do this kind of reverse, or negatives, just pure negatives. Other sports scientists are interested in really only the concentric phase, but really doing very heavy loading and targeting a particular speed and then dropping the weight off at the top. So we can do that too. We have a whole suite of little algorithms that we can use depending on what you or the sports scientist or the programmer that's giving you your program wants to achieve, which just means you can train like a pro in your lounge room. This is just amazing, Kim. This is what the guys down in the Eagles and the Dockers do, if they can. And they do it if they can. This is elite ways to train. And we've packaged it up and put it in your lounge room.
I was going to say, so is this kind of is this a gym killer? Is this actually going to go and knock that industry on its head a little bit? Or what's the end outcome with this product?
Yeah, no, we don't see it that way. We want to serve people who want to train, Kim. People go to the gym because they like going to the gym generally, because it fits their lifestyle, it's convenient, they like being around other people. So we'd like to have our equipment in gyms. And for those that can't make it to the gym, well, or, for whatever reason that they're not interested in gym training, then they can train at home in exactly the same way. So some people just love class environments and they want to go to a live class and be around other people training hard. We'd like to be able to facilitate that too. So we're not hostile to the way people currently train and the current industry. We want to meet the industry and the people where they are and facilitate great results.
And so and what's the limitations on it? So let's just say that I'm strong and I deadlift 200 kilos. Is that sort of replicable on this machine as well?
Yes, it is. Yeah, we got some tricks up our sleeves to do that. You're limited by how much power that comes out of your wall. So that's the limiting factor. So once you start working out at heavy weights, it takes a lot of power. But we believe we can manage that with different ratios and whatever. And we have a machine that's designed to do up to 200 kilos. And we've got machines on the drawing boards that can do 3 or 4 times that as well. They're just a bit more custom. They'll be bigger, heavier, again, need more power. But now that we know what we're doing, we can do the world's heaviest deadlift on a machine if you really want.
That's amazing. And so with it, obviously you said it could work in with gyms, because my question around that was going to be, how does it tie in then with injury prevention and things like that? If you're someone who's going hard and maybe do you kind of already need to have and understand your form for benching, for squatting, for deadlifting to be able to make sure that you aren't prone to that? Or is there any kind of fail-safe in and amongst that as well?
It's one of the things we love about this product is because of how the weight comes on and off and where it comes on and off, you're actually far less prone to injury in the first place. Anyone who's spent any time in the gym know that it's often not actually doing the workout that hurts you. It's getting into position. It's holding. You really want to push it, and you pick up a heavy dumbbell, and you've got to crane it into position. And when you're doing these weird shoulder muscles, that's where you might pull a rotator cuff or something. That's one area for injury. Another one is where you want to see if you can push your 1 rep max, and you just can't, and and you get stuck, and then you get pinned, and then you got to crawl out, and then you hurt yourself that way. So that can't happen with our machine. You can't get pinned, because as soon as you stop, as soon as you reach that limit where you can't move it anymore, the weight backs off. Yeah, there's lots of additional safety features in this product that we love, and it's another core reason why we believe people will be able to train far more effectively using our equipment, because there are 2 fundamental reasons why you don't get the results that you want in the gym, whether that be for muscle growth or just toning or general muscle tone. It doesn't have to be about size and strength. It can just be physique. And the 2 main reasons that you don't get the results you want is, first of all, you don't train optimally. You don't pick the right weight. You're not using the right reps and sets. And second of all, because you get injured and you can't train. So we believe we address those 2 fundamental reasons why you don't get the results you want with one piece of equipment. Yes, we believe we've really got something to offer the world here.
As you mentioned, obviously people can do it from their own homes. They ideally in gyms picking up the equipment as well. At the moment, where's the main place that people are getting access to? Like, it looks like you've got a bit of somewhat a facility. I don't know if that's just the back of a warehouse or something that you're building, or if you've got a facility there. But if someone's hearing this and they're like, I'd be interested in seeing how this works, how can they do that and find out about that a little bit more?
So our research and development facility, for a better word, is in Perth in Western Australia. So we welcome people coming in, popping in and having a go of a unit here if you're local to Perth. Obviously, COVID has changed how mobile people are. We'd love to be setting up little stations around Australia and around the world. We just can't get around at the moment. We're in the process of finishing off a small production run, and we will be delivering. Those will not be for sale. They'll be for people around the world that have already expressed interest in, whether they be gym owners or fitness influencers or whatever. And we'll be distributing them to those people. So maybe you'll be able to get a go from one of those people, and they'll be scattered around the world. So unfortunately, it's a bit tough at the moment. We also have live pre-sale campaigns, so you can jump on our website, which is www.vitruvianform.com, and you can pre-order one, and we'll just do our darnest to get it to you as quickly as we can, which should hopefully be by end of the year. Yeah, that's the state that the business is in. Everyone who tries it, uses it, loves it, understands the benefit, and we're just kind of scrambling now to make them and deliver them.
I'm in Perth too, so I feel like I'll have to come along and
come on around, mate. Yeah, it'd be good to see you.
And definitely have a shot. For then, obviously, with taking into consideration recovery and things like that as well for people, is there an optimal amount? Because if you're training really more effectively, more efficiently, 2 times the workout in one, is there an optimal number of workouts per week to use with it, or to do it in conjunction with other things? Like, how does that side of things work?
That's another one of the things that I'm super excited about, Kim. There is kind of an unsolved problem in sports science, which is how best to train. What combination of volume and intensity do you need to do to get the results that you're after? Different sports scientists, different exercise physiologists, different personal trainers will tell you different things. The data there is some, but it's fairly general about what sort of combination of volume and intensity you need. You certainly need to do volume and intensity, and if you do volume without the intensity, it's a waste of time, and if you do intensity without the volume, it's a waste of time. So there is some medium. You need to work hard and you need to work consistently, but the actual soup, or the actual equation, it's still a little bit unsolved. And what excites me is, if we have 10,000 of these units, or let's dream a bit, let's have 100,000 out in the world, we are measuring and we are observing the trainees on our equipment, and we're observing how they train, and we'll be able to see who's getting the best results. And we're going to actually know from a data science point of view, because the people that join this platform are going to tell us. And then that information will get immediately fed back to everyone on the platform. So it's a self-learning machine, and I can't wait to find out what the answer is. And to me, that's just unbeatable. Whatever your goals are, whether it just be like a toning program, or you want to be able to throw your kids around better and more effectively, when we have the data, you'll be able to put that in, and we'll be able to tell exactly how to achieve that. And all you'll have to do is do the work, but it'll be as efficient and as effective as it possibly can be.
And so obviously you've had a variety of experiences and background, and obviously you said you were trading, and then you had a little mini gym in the background. I'm just thinking, for people listening, if they're going, cool, I'm a busy business owner, maybe I do or don't go to the gym, or maybe I just do some cardio, or maybe I don't go at all. What for you was the reason behind resistance training, and why do you think it is so obviously you think it's important for people to do and to do properly, not just from like obviously an elite athlete perspective, but for the general, small, medium-sized business owner? What are some of the benefits of resistance training as well, just to try and help them out and get their minds around that a little bit more also?
I think in terms of physical activity, it's the single most important thing any human should do. Before you do cardio, I believe you should do resistance training, because it's the key to your lifelong physical well-being. It's the key to preventing injury. It's the key to improving your outcomes as you age. It's the key to achieving as well as you want when you're young. And it's also the key to looking good, if that's what you're interested in doing. I was interested in making a piece of equipment that was able to cater. Fundamentally, I made a piece of equipment for me. And I wanted a piece of equipment that was able to cater to my whole family, and to give them the ability to have a good piece of resistance training in the home and be effective for them in their life, where they are in their life. So I've got a 9-year-old son, I've got a 14-year-old daughter, I've got a 17-year-old son, and my wife and I are in our 40s. My 9-year-old can get onto this machine and he can push out, biceps curls and bench presses, and he does it. And the reason he does it is because every time he does it, he gets a point on the app, and he doesn't know what those points are for. He thinks they're for lollies. He's in the background here, actually. I'm going to keep this quiet. But that's why he likes getting these points. So we've figured out a way for him to get some resistance training into his frame. And my 14-year-old daughter is interested in track and field, so can she use it to improve her running times? My 17-year-old son, he's studying hard for exams at the moment. Just any kind of very sedentary life. He needs to just get some blood pumping through his muscles for his own well-being. And for myself and my wife, I don't know how old you are, Kim, but once you get past your early 30s, just the course of aging, you'll lose 1 to 2% of your muscle mass a year. That's a real problem. That's a real problem if you don't address it in your 30s and you look up in your 60. Your muscles really have wasted, and that's when you start getting injured. That's when you start just walking around on the floor. You'll slip and you'll do your knee. What's really important for me in my stage of life is just to keep my muscles under tension so that they don't waste. I'm not interested in getting massive and strong and looking great on the beach. I want my muscles to stay alive and not wasting, so I can throw my kids around and I can go surfing and not get injured. For all those reasons, I think resistance training is, throughout your life, the key to living the best physical life you can. And we believe we're helping people do that with the equipment we're making. So,
wholeheartedly agree with all of that, for sure. And I always like to ask this question as we get towards the end of our time together, which is, what's a question that I didn't ask you that I should have?
What's the hardest thing about what you're doing? About that? Is that a question?
Yeah, I love that. What is it?
We are right in the thick of, we're a startup business, and startups are hard. You have to be incredibly focused, resilient, and you have to be full of self-belief. Even so, you're second-guessing yourself. You're on your own, really. Even though you've got people around you and friends around you, investors and people that work for you, and you build a great team, you're still kind of a little bit on your own, because it's up to you to pull it off. Yeah, that's hard, but it's also incredibly exciting. Like, I don't want to be doing anything else in my life right now. The thrill of having an idea and putting the effort in and seeing it come to fruition is just, what else do you live for? To me, that's the most exciting thing that I can imagine.
100%. I think probably most of our listeners can relate to that, which is like, even if you do have a team and you're a startup or you're working by yourself, it's a very similar experience and feeling, because it is like the buck stops with you. So it's like, am I doing the right thing? Am I pushing it the right way? Am I, like everything falls onto the shoulders. And luckily you got big shoulders because you've been training so hard, so you can carry it. So that's all right. Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree. And I think everyone listening would agree as well. So it's great to hear. Earlier, you shared the website so people can go on there and find out. Is there anywhere else where people, if they're like, I really want to see more about this machine, follow the journey that you guys are on, is there anywhere else that they should connect with you online?
Well, just in our social media accounts, if you want to see some pictures, but the website would be the best place if you want to get in touch with us. Reach out through the website. Obviously, listen to this podcast is a good idea. We've got a few others around the traps as well. And if you're local to Perth, we'd love to meet you. Arrange a time. You can actually book an appointment on our website and come in and have a go on a piece of equipment and see our R&D facility, which is a bit of a mess at the moment, but it's real and it's really happening. So anyone who's in Perth, we'd love to see you. We really would.
Beautiful. So guys, wherever you're listening, check out the show notes. We'll have a link to the site and everything there, or click through to the website and we'll have everything linked up in all our show notes as per usual. And if there's anyone that you know has been trying resistance training, or they're doing resistance training, or thinking about it, make sure that you share this podcast with them so that they can hear a little bit more about what the guys are up to over here in Perth. It's good to see some great innovation and stuff happening out of Perth as well. So really excited to see more about it. And once again, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you making the time.
Yeah, it's great. Take care, mate.
Cheers.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.